Hello everyone, welcome to Lukmaan IAS. Today we are going to have the Hindu newspaper analysis dated 24th of August 2023. So let us quickly see the articles that are important from today's newspaper. So these are the list of articles that we are going to cover in today's discussion. Along with this, we are going to cover these many additional articles. So let us start the discussion with the first topic today. So the first topic talks about social security schemes. So name of the topic is needed a well-crafted social security net for all, right? So this topic is very important. It's important for GS paper 3 of the mains exam. Okay, it's important for GS paper 3. Also, it has relevance with GS paper 2, right, of the mains exam. So this topic is a mains oriented topic. Here in this topic, we need to understand what do we mean by social security, right? So this will be one domain that I'm going to help you understand. Apart from this, we will also understand about like what is the status of social security in India, what programs we are running in India. And along with this, we will also understand about what are the best practices in the world, means like overseas in different countries, what social security scheme do they implement. And then we are going to understand what changes do we need to make in our social security programs. Why we need to make changes? Because we want to make our citizens live a life healthy and let's say peaceful and dignified life. So for that matter, we are going to discuss about social security programs. So let us understand what do we mean by social security. Social security means protecting certain social rights of the individuals. Social rights that includes, let's say, giving them insurance, right? Insurance related to their medical facilities. In case like they are unemployed or they are not employed. In that case, providing them some kind of, let's say, income benefits so that they should not worry about taking care of, let's say, their regular expenses. So social security provides different types of economic benefits to the individuals and also provides, let's say, benefits like in their old age, right? When they become old age, so they are given certain kind of protection by the states. So like who should provide social security? Providing social security is the responsibility of the state. State, in case of India, it is the state governments and the central government. So governments together should provide social security benefits to its citizens. But what categories of citizens will be covered by it? So in this article, Mr. Varun Gandhi has talked about those people who are so far excluded from social security benefits. And the most excluded are the people who are working in the unorganized sector in India. So around 91% of India's population is involved in working in unorganized sector. For example, some people are working as BD makers, some people are working as rickshaw pullers, some people are working as household help, right? So these people who are working in these kind of domains, they are not covered under social security net. And these people need to be covered because these people have lot of, let's say, insecurities in their regular life, in their personal life, in their financial life, or in their careers. Okay, so they face lot of insecurities. And Mr. Varun Gandhi has talked about those statistics that showcases where India is lacking. So in this article, they have talked about that around 53% of salaried workforce, okay, around 53% of salaried workforce does not have any social security benefits in India. And this data is according to the periodic labor force survey, okay. So the periodic labor force survey annual report of 2021 and 22 has talked about this particular thing. And also, so another conclusion that can be drawn from the data is that just 1.9% of the poorest 20% quintile of India's workforce has access to any benefits. Okay. Meanwhile, if I talk about gig workers means platform workers like the drivers in Uber, the food delivery people. So they are part of gig workers. And here they have mentioned gig workers are approximately 1.3% of India's active labor force rarely have access to any social security benefit. Okay. So what it means that it means that India's policymakers have largely ignored social security. Okay, so India's policymakers have largely ignored social security. So, like, social security means providing some kind of access to provident fund, pension, healthcare, and disability insurance, which has been largely ignored, which has largely not been given to the people of India, right? So that's why he has talked about various data. So one of the data talks about that the Comptroller and Auditor General of India has done, let's say, like, auditing of various social security schemes that are working. So those audit has showcased that, like, only those people who are working in formal sectors, some of those people are covered under social security benefit. However, people largely working in unorganized sector, informal sector, they are not covered under any social security scheme. And they have mentioned over here that in the financial year 2011, right, financial year 11, National Social Security Fund was set up, right? So there was a National Social Security Fund that was set up, related to providing social security to unorganized workers, okay, or workers who are working in informal sector. So they have given an initial allocation of 1000 crore rupees for these workers. However, once the Comptroller and Auditor General of India has done an audit, they have identified that largely these funds have been unutilized, means the fund that has been allocated, it has not been utilized to provide social security benefit to the unorganized sector. And apart from this, they have also talked about another, let's say, scheme of the Haryana government. Okay, so in Haryana, the CAG noted that the direct benefit scheme of the state's social justice and empowerment department has seen a transfer of 98.96 crore to the accounts of deceased beneficiaries. Means in the Haryana state, in the state of Haryana, there was a social security scheme that was functioning. And as part of that social security scheme, they were providing benefits, right, to the old age people. And once a scrutiny was done by the Comptroller and Auditor General of India, that scrutiny has revealed that around, let's say, 98 crore rupees have been disbursed to the accounts of those people who have already passed away, who have already died or deceased, right? So to their account, it has been provided. And also he mentions that still we have a large number of people in India who are seeking work under Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Generation Act, which is known as MG Narega. Okay, MG Narega. So a lot of people are seeking benefits under it. Then in this article, they have talked about what are the schemes that are running abroad or overseas, schemes that are running in other countries. So recently, the International Labour Organization has mentioned about one such scheme that the Brazilian government is running. Okay, so name of the scheme is known as Brazil General Social Security Scheme. So this is a contribution based scheme, means like here those people who want social security, they have to contribute, right, to it through some kind of premiums, and also the employers have to contribute to it. Okay, so it is a contribution based scheme, and so it's substituting income loss for a worker, okay, wherein in partial or full, means like if a worker is contributing to that social security scheme, if in case that worker becomes unemployed, so it is going to help that worker, right, from the money that he has contributed. Okay, so there will be some, let's say, addition from the government side also. So this covers any situation due to accident and work, disability that prevents that worker from working, death or illness or medical treatment that leads to time away from work, family burdens or prospect of unemployment. So here the International Labour Organization has talked about that it is a Brazilian good practices in social security. Okay, so Brazilian government is doing good practice in social security. So this is one of the, let's say, very important scheme, right, that is running worldwide. I mean, like, it is running, let's say, in Brazil. So this example has been taken by International Labour Organization. And apart from this, if I talk about in India, right, in India, approximately 91% of India's workforce are in informal sector. It lacks access to social security. In 2 decades, India will be an aging society. For such workers with limited savings, there will be no significant social protection. we have, let's say, like, we have come up with something known as Code on Social Security, okay? We have come up with Code on Social Security in 2020. So this Code on Social Security 2020 largely caters to the people who are working in organized sector, okay? These people are working in organized sector. They are working in formal enterprises. So what steps do we need to take in India? In this article, they have mentioned about the steps that India needs to take. First of all, like, we need to, so we need to work, India should aspire to provide social security to all its workers in a manner that is fiscally and administratively feasible. Means like we should strive, we should try to provide social security to all the workers, irrespective whether they are working in informal sector or they are working in formal sector. And there can be three broad principles, right? So these principles means we must expand employer and employee contribution under the employee provident fund organization system for formal workers. For those people who are working in formal sector, right? So there is an organization which is known as Employees Provident Fund Organization, EPFO. So in EPFO, like, there should be contribution from the worker side and from the employer side, okay? So that, like, this can lead to expansion of the scope of social security to the people who are working in the formal sector. Apart from this, for informal workers with margin, meaningful income, whether self-employed or in informal enterprises, partial contribution can be elicited along with persuading informal enterprises to formalize and expand their total contribution. So here he has talked about the second thing, those people who are working in informal sector, like who are earning decent amount, either doing self-employment or they are working in informal enterprises. So those people who are working in informal enterprises, these people, let's say the informal enterprises must be incentivized that, like, they should, let's say, like, take these workers, take the issue of these social security of these workers, okay? So like they should be incentivized. And also, and for those who are unemployed or have stopped looking for work or do not earn enough, the government should step in, okay? So they say those people who are not earning anything, the government should step in, they should provide some kind of benefit. For example, there is universal basic income. The concept of universal basic income has been introduced in one of the economic survey. In that economic survey, they have, talked about what are the benefits, what are the, let's say, negative aspects of providing universal basic income to the citizens, right? So that can be, let's say, leveraged by the government. And so the author says there are additional reforms are needed, okay? Additional reforms on many fields are needed. So we need to provide insurance accident coverage. We should provide, let's say, life insurance to the workers in social, let's say, this thing. And author also highlights the point of gig workers, that gig workers should also be, let's say, included as part of social security scheme. And for them, there should be, let's say, separate social security scheme so that they can be provided benefit by the government. Now they have talked about, he has talked about, on the schemes that are already functioning, right? So we have many schemes, for example, Employee Provident Fund Organization, Employees State Insurance Scheme, National Social Assistance Program, right? So for these schemes, the government should, let's say, do away with the loopholes. Government should bring in more funds so that, like, these schemes perform at their level best. And also the author says, all those schemes that are already functional, those schemes should be, let's say, made more robust, right? So there should be more scrutiny, there should be more, let's say, fund pumping into those systems. And also the author has talked about how do we protect the social security for the women's. So author has discussed about one thing, that the organizations such as Self-Employed Women's Association, which run Shakti Kendra or Worker Facilitation Center, may be funded, right, to run campaigns especially for women to provide greater information on social security, right, along with services and schemes that the government offers, okay? So these steps will help the government to provide social security, and social security is the need of the hour, because most most of our population feels insecure, right? Why? Because they do not have any social security. Even if they are working, they feel insecure at job, they feel insecure at home. So we need to first of all address to the need of economic security as well as social security for our citizens. Okay, so this is all in this topic. So with this topic, let's say we will move to the next topic, and meanwhile, we are going to solve some questions for the prelims and mains exam as well. So this is one of the questions that you need to answer, right? It says, what are the problems faced by India in implementing social security in India? Discuss the importance of having a social security program in India, right? Write an answer to this question, and after writing, you can share your answer with us at Jahidul at lukmaanias.com. Okay, so we are going to evaluate your answer, and then we are going to share the evaluated copy back to you. Okay, so that will help you to improve your answer writing skills. So with this, let us now move to the next topic. Okay, this topic is again very important. Okay, so this topic is related to international relations. Through this article, we are going to understand about the international relations or bilateral relations between India and United Kingdom. So this is important under GS paper 2. This topic is important under GS paper 2. So this topic especially talks about, let's say, opportunities to deepen the trade ties between India and United Kingdom, right? So as part of the G20 summit, right? So G20 summit is going to happen in Delhi, right, in the month of September. And for that, right, so the lady, like the picture you can see over here, she is going to participate in G20 summit related to economic ties, right, between India and United Kingdom. Okay, so taking this opportunity, this author has written an article. In that article, she has appraised, right, she has, let's say, talked about the great relation that India and UK share, right? India and UK share historical ties, they share economic ties, they do have cultural ties, we do have educational exchange programs as also. Many Indian people, right, many Indian people have been historically going to the United Kingdom to pursue higher studies, right? Even, let's say, if I talk about Mahatma Gandhi, he has visited United Kingdom, he became a barrister from there. And many people, right, most of the affluent class people, they go to United Kingdom, they acquire knowledge from there. And also, we do have deeper economic ties with that country as well, right? So in this article, the author has highlighted about the great ties that India and United Kingdom share, and also she has discussed about the economic ties that India and United Kingdom share with them. So the thing is, the author is hopefully, right, she is hopeful that in the G20 meeting, where she is going to meet the Commerce and Industry Minister of India, Mr. Piyush Goyal. So after meeting with him, she is going to highlight about all those areas, right, where India and UK can have deeper cooperation, can have, let's say, deeper economic participation bilaterally between these two countries, which is going to be beneficial for both the countries. I mean, for UK also, for India also, and for its businesses. So there are many sectors in which, people of United Kingdom and India are participating in trade ties. For example, many Indian people have, let's say, gone and settled in United Kingdom. So they have become diaspora for India. However, they have established their own businesses over there. They have, let's say, started providing various kind of, let's say, services to the people of UK. And so, we do have deeper ties. And in this article, she has talked about all those areas where India and government of United Kingdom can participate, right, in deeper ties. So she talks about an ambitious free trade agreement. Okay, what do we mean by free trade agreement? Free trade agreement is a kind of trade ties where, one country considers the goods of the other country to its own. They give, national treatment to the goods that have originated from the other country. For example, if India and UK signs let's say, free trade agreement, in that case, all the goods that are coming from UK, So those goods will be applied lesser, let's say, import duty. So there will be lesser import duty. So people in India will be able to buy those goods at a cheaper cost because we will be applying lesser import duty. Similarly, like, the United Kingdom is also going to reciprocate. They are also going to extend the same favor to India. That is known as free trade agreement. So here we try to, let's say, reduce the trade barriers between these two countries by bringing in many reforms related to taxation measures, reforms related to, let's say, reforms related to not allowing the goods from other countries, right? So we need to do reform also, so that like we allow the goods from other country also to come to India. So this is all in this article. So you need to go through this article to understand about the perspective of the author, right? Perspective of the author. So with this, we will move to the this topic. We are going to see, like, you need to write an answer to this question. It says the partnership between India and UK extends beyond trade and investment into culture, sports, education, and tourism. In light of this, discuss the relation between India and UK. Okay, so you need to discuss the relations between India and UK. After writing an answer to this question, you can share this answer to us on the same email address that I have shared earlier, right? So with this, like, we will move to the next topic. This topic is again very, very important. It says, can AI be ethical and moral? Now here AI means artificial intelligence. Okay, so this topic is related to artificial intelligence. So it says, this topic is related to artificial intelligence. This topic says, can artificial intelligence be ethical and moral? So in this article, we need to understand what is artificial intelligence is, what is its role. So the author in this article has pointed out that artificial intelligence has assumed greater importance in the current world. How? Because artificial intelligence has come up with newer versions, right? We also have generative AI. And the power of artificial intelligence is being harnessed not only by the private people, but also it is being harnessed by the governments, right? It is being harnessed by the governments. It is being harnessed by various organizations across the world. Okay, so they are harnessing the power of artificial intelligence. And in this article, they have mentioned that how artificial intelligence can be used for decision-making purposes. And for this purpose, many governments, right, many governments have started using the potential of artificial intelligence to generate, right, some kind of, let's say, results related to decision making. However, the author points out that, like, if we, let's say, delegate our responsibility, like the responsibility that hitherto, that earlier lied with the human being, the responsibility where we used to be the, let's say, decision makers, now we are delegating this responsibility to artificial intelligence. So this responsibility has inherent bias in it. What bias it has? Basically, the author talks about those people who are training the AI systems. They are training with some sets of data, right? They are training with some sets of data. And the data in itself is biased. So it will not be able to generate, let's say, like, an outcome that a human mind can do, right? It will not be able to generate an outcome that a human mind can do. So that's the thing. So in this article, the author says, the adoption of AI in decision making is not without its potential pitfalls. So there can be, let's say, like, negative aspect of, let's say, using artificial intelligence for decision making. And also the author has highlighted one thinker. His name is Immanuel Kant. Okay, so Immanuel Kant. So the Kant has, given a philosophy. The Kant has emphasized on individuals' three characteristics. One of the characteristic is autonomy. Okay, one of the characteristic is autonomy. The other characteristic is rationality. Okay, rationality. And the third characteristic is moral duty. Okay, third characteristics of this is moral duty, right? So the authors, author mentions Immanuel Kant, who is a, let's say, theorist, who is a thinker, Immanuel Kant has talked about that a person like who is, let's say, who has the autonomy of taking decision and thinks rationally and has moral duty, is capable of taking independent decisions, is able to take independent decisions. However, if we compare it with artificial intelligence, if we compare it with the, let's say, like, algorithm that runs behind artificial intelligence, these algorithms do not have autonomy. Okay, they do not have autonomy. How they do not have autonomy? Because, like, they have been programmed in certain manner that they will be giving answers, right, based on the input that we are providing, based on the training that it has received. Okay, it will be able to let's say, like, rational decision provided some kind of thoughts that are given, but like it will not be having any it will be very complex to implement moral duty for them. So the author says in this article that, Immanuel Kant, what he has mentioned, it is very difficult to achieve them. And also the author has talked about, let's say, like, rules, three laws of robotics that were introduced by Isaac Asimov. Okay, so there was a person, his name is Isaac Asimov. Okay, Isaac Asimov. What he has done is he has given three laws for robotics, and these three laws were designed to govern robotics behavior, aiming for ethical actions, but within Asimov's fictional world. The laws lead to unexpected and often paradoxical outcomes. Okay, these laws gives, let's say, contradictory outcomes. Okay, so that's the thing. So the author has talked about that AI driven governmental decision making, right, although it may help facilitate the government in taking decision, but like it should not be totally given to let's say, like, we should not totally delegate the authority of taking decision to artificial intelligence, because like in that case we will be evading our own moral responsibility, right, of taking decision. So human has inherent character of taking decision. Okay, so that was mentioned in this article. So author has also talked about, let's say, like, four important, author has mentioned about let's say 4 categories of machine agents relating to ethics are defined. Okay, so 4 characteristics. So one of the characteristics that the author says is, the first is ethical impact agents. So machines with ethical consequences, like that of robot jockeys, which don't make ethical decision but pose ethical consideration, okay, such as altering the sports dynamics. Then second is implicit ethics. Second is implicit ethical agents, machine with embedded safety and ethical guidelines. Then the author has talked about, let's say, other 2 things also. The third is explicit ethical agents. So the author has talked about different types of ethical agents, and these different types of ethical agents are, let's say, responsible of taking, let's say, certain actions, certain steps that are based on ethical guidelines, but like they are not, let's say, they do not have an autonomy, right? So they will not be able to take decision as human beings. So that's why the author has suggested that, like, it is very difficult to simulate or, like, make AI systems that will be able to replace human beings in decision making related thing. So that's why the author has emphasized that, like, greater number of countries should participate into making rules and regulations that should govern the artificial intelligence. Why? Because governing artificial intelligence is important, otherwise it is going to lead us to a world with more bias, more incorrect information, more let's say, like, fake news and false information, etc. Right? So this is what is mentioned by the author in this article.